Okay, so let's get right into it. We're about to decode a set of unwritten rules, the silent architecture that shapes how people see you the second you walk out the door. And this isn't just about being polite, it's way deeper than that.
And let's be absolutely clear about what's at stake here. The moment you are in public, you're being watched. And this, well, this is about survival.
I want you to think of every public space, your office, a party, even social media, as a constant, silent audit. See, people aren't really listening to what you say. They're watching for what you leak. Those tiny, unconscious signals in your tone, your posture, how you react when the pressure's on. That's what they're judging.
And this right here is the critical difference you've got to understand. In our private lives, with people who get us, being open and vulnerable is how we connect. It's a strength. But in public, that same openness can become a huge liability. Public space is unforgiving. It doesn't care about your context. It just catalogs your actions and moves on.
And here's the cold hard truth about that public audit. People don't have time for your full story. They're busy. So they compress everything you do into these simple, super sticky labels. Are you strong or weak? Stable or unstable? And believe me, once that narrative about you gets set, it is incredibly hard to change.
So how does a bad reputation even start? Well, it's almost never one big dramatic failure. It's more like a quiet bleed. It happens through a slow, steady accumulation of these tiny, unintentional leaks of information about your internal state.
And what are these leaks? Well, the most common ones are things we all do. Complaining, over-explaining everything, showing too much emotion in public, maybe some casual humor that just doesn't land right, or sharing things a little too soon. Each one seems so harmless by itself, right? But together they start to paint a really devastating picture of instability. Let's break down the biggest one, complaining. When you complain, you think you're just venting, but what you're actually doing is announcing to the world, hey, this is how you control me. People might nod along and validate you, sure, but what's really happening is that their validation is quietly replacing their respect for you.
And then there's that impulse to over-explain. The moment something goes wrong, if you rush to defend yourself and explain everything, you're signaling that your position isn't solid, that it depends on their approval. The person who's always explaining is already on the back foot. They've lost their authority.
Okay, so if all these little leaks are slowly sinking our reputation, how do we stop them? The solution is a skill, really an art form, called containment. And this is not, I repeat, not about being a robot or suppressing how you feel. It's about strategic, disciplined emotional management.
This here is such a crucial distinction. Suppression is just bottling things up until you inevitably explode. That's a form of weakness. Containment, on the other hand, is about feeling everything, processing your emotions fully, but doing it in private. That way you can present a coherent, stable front to the world. It's about being able to recover without having to announce every injury you get along the way.
I love this line because it reframes the whole idea. Composure isn't about being fake. Think of it as the armor that protects your authentic, long-term self from being sabotaged by your temporary, short-term emotions.
All right, so let's get really practical. How do we actually do this? Think of these next few rules as a kind of secret code for navigating public life. And I promise you, once you learn them, you'll start seeing them everywhere.
Rule number 1, never ever show your struggle while you're still in the middle of it. To an outsider, a work in progress just looks like chaos and instability. It doesn't look like resilience. You have to get to the top of the mountain first. Then you can tell the story of the tough climb, because now that story is framed by your success. Second, never voice your uncertainty in public. The moment you say, I'm not sure what to do, you've just sent out an open invitation for everyone else to start steering your ship. You lose control of your own path. It is so crucial to hold on to that confusion until it turns into clarity. Then you act.
Now this one is subtle, but it is so powerful. Don't narrate your inner debates out loud. When you tell people what you're weighing, the pros and cons, you're also showing them your leverage points. You're literally handing them a roadmap of what matters to you and exactly how to pressure you to get what they want.
And finally, never air your grievances in public. Complaining about your opposition or your problems doesn't make them smaller. It actually gives them free advertising. It tells everyone that this person or this problem is living rent-free in your head and that your focus is totally trapped.
So when you actually master this art of sealing the leaks, something really counterintuitive starts to happen. It's a paradox. By revealing less, you actually gain more. It fundamentally changes the entire dynamic of how the world sees you and interacts with you. And this is the heart of the paradox. When you create a bit of an information vacuum, people don't usually fill it with negative assumptions. It's the opposite. They fill it with respect. They assume you're handling massive complexity just out of sight. They project stability onto your silence.
And here's the flip side of that coin. The more you broadcast every struggle, the more people just assume you're failing, even if you're actually making incredible progress. Public visibility magnifies perceived weakness way faster than it magnifies strength.
So what's the end game here? By becoming less readable, you're not being deceptive, you're becoming solid. When people can't easily figure you out and put you in a box, they have to approach you with more caution. And that caution? Well, that's the very beginning of respect.
Which brings us to the final thought. And it's really a question for you. After hearing all this, the most important question isn't about what other people are doing. It's about you. So take a second and be honest with yourself. What have you been leaking?